We are live on FUTV again, third time today, but tonight I'm joined by the panel. And yes, there was a poll up in the chat. Would Jay make it? I don't know what's going on. I've not seen a message yet, but it's open and it could pop in at any time. So brace yourselves, people. But in the house already, we have Jack and Louise. Jack, good to have you back on, mate. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good, thank you. Thanks for having me on.
No problem at all, mate. And Louise there on just below Jack. How you doing, Louise? Ready to go again? Another episode?
Absolutely. Great to be back.
Good. We're going to mess around with the screen as well today, guys. I'm like a kid in like a toy shop. So when the screen starts moving around, it's just me playing with my toys. So just bear with us, guys. But yeah, good to have everyone in. Get your comments in the live chat as well, please. Get involved in the show. Get involved in the polls and everything else going on. If you agree with the guys, let us know. We can bring up your messages just as the bounty hunters right there in front of us. I'm still not keen on that name, mate. Honestly, I'm still not going to let you live that one down, Stu. But we move on. We move past it. Right. A lot has gone on. A lot has gone down with Manchester United. Louise, I'm going to come to you first. When it comes to transfer windows, Manchester United fans are sort of like batten down the hatches, strap themselves in for a bit of a bumpy ride, don't we? But it does seem, and I've been making a big point about this all day. Everyone who's watched the shows earlier on today would have seen. My biggest thing from this is just how United seem to be operating, Louise. And we said last time you was on, if there was a statement you could make, it would be getting through a transfer window looking like an actual football club. Are you impressed with how Manchester United are going about it? Yes, no signings in yet, but from what you've seen, Louise, what do you reckon?
Yeah, no, I do. I'm definitely impressed with how they're going about things. Maybe not necessarily the individual signings that they're making or the players themselves that they're going with. I think we all know I had a few reservations about Xerxes and his hamstrings, and that seems to be taking legs now, really. But I think the way they're doing it is quite good. They're not messing around. I like the way they handle the Brantwaite thing. I think it's really important that they make an impression, and we did say that the last time, you only get one chance to make a first impression. They're not going to get a second go round. They're showing that they're not going to be messed with. They're showing what they're about, and they're making it very clear, like, okay, we're not here to be messed about. We're not here to take our time over silly, like 2 million, 1 million back and forth. Either we go with it or we move on. There's other players that we want, and we're not going to have anyone wasting our time. So I've been really impressed with how they've done it, if not necessarily the specific players.
Yeah, honestly, I think you're echoing what I was saying today, Jack. We've not spoken to you for a while. A lot's gone down in 1 week for Manchester United. It seemed like July 1st was a big date for us. Since then, like literally, I've been inundated with news on different subjects and everything going on, Jack, from Dan Ashworth, Christopher Vivel, nearly here we goes going on. Players left, right, centre being linked with United. Van Nistelrooy, Haak coming in. Ten Hag officially announcing his contract extension. Overall week for you, Jack, and what you've seen so far. Are you upbeat? Are you positive looking ahead from what's happened this week with United?
Yeah, well, I really don't know where to start with that one, honestly. You've chucked about 10 different topics at me. But what I would say is, obviously, I'm optimistic about it, but I won't start feeling excited until the first man comes through the door. Do you know what I mean? Like, obviously, as much talk as there is, and I do believe it, I just want to see players coming in now. It's the big thing for me. Because so much of this squad needs to go. I want to be seeing the backs of players and then new players coming in. So until the first player comes in, I'll start feeling a bit more excited.
Yeah, it's the shirts, isn't it? It's holding up the shirts, dotting the I's, crossing the T's. No one's really convinced, and I can see it in the feedback from the audiences that have had the people in the chat and everything going on. You just feel like, you know what? We've been here before. False Dawns FC might as well be Manchester United's middle name. It might as well just be up there as a punchline for the football club, really. It's a case of, look, we haven't got a lot of money to spend. We're having to deal with what we're dealing with financially. We've got issues off the pitch with players coming back. Any bit of good news, I think the fan base jumps onto it, Louise. And you know what? I can feel it. I've done it myself today. I feel a lot more positive. And even people have come in the chat and the comments and said, damn, Adam, what's with the positivity? You usually all the pessimistic, downbeat one. But no, I am quite actively a positive person around United. But I've just been watching and listening to a load of shit for so long that it's probably affected me. But I look at big situations this week, not so much situations, but things that are probably going to be rectified in this next week. Obviously, the 2 transfers mainly. That extra 20 million for Bayern Munich, I was talking about it earlier on, Louise. I want to get your thoughts on this. It just seems like United have actually done their research and actually know what environment they're working in, doesn't it? Like they've played it very clever in the approach with the agent we've got good dealings with, and the way that the whole situation's working around now. Looks like we're in complete control of it.
Yeah, well, it feels a bit more professional, and I know people don't like the idea of associating a business with a football club, and, people follow the club because they love the sport and they love the team and that aspect of it. But at the end of the day, for us to be able to do well on the pitch and prosper as a football club, we need to be able to do well as a business, because money makes the world go round. Money pays the wages, money buys the players, money supports the stadium, money is what makes it happen. So for us to be successful on the pitch, we also need to be successful and well run behind the scenes as a business. And so I think the better we do as a business, the better decisions we're making as a business, the more strategy we have, the more research we do, the more professional it looks, the more in control it looks, and the less likely people are going to be, to try and take the mick a bit as well. And I think I'd be quite aligned with you in terms of how I feel on INEOS. I think they're doing really quite well. And I think, sometimes because we've been so traumatized for such a long time by the Glazers, I think sometimes, people fall into that thing of sort of judging INEOS by the Glazers standards. And I know, look, it can be hard to separate them. It's a very emotional topic, but I think it's important that we do, because, if you go into any business and you're going to look at it, you're going to start from the top down. And that's what INEOS have done. They've brought in the right people, and now they're doing it on the pitch, and they're doing it in a very organized way. And I think that's really, really important. And it's something that we've not ever had before. It's just been absolute chaos for the last nearly 2 decades. So to have a bit of organisation and structure, I think this early and this quickly, I think they've done really, really well. And I think it bodes well going forward that we are going to be more organised and we're going to have a plan. And if this is what they can do in such a short space of time, imagine what it's going to look like next year when they've had a whole year to look at everything properly. This is them on a rush job. So I think it'll be really, really good to see how well that planning does with another year on top of it.
Yeah, Jack, let's move on to the players. Let's look at the ones that are coming in. Matthias de Ligt, for you, we discussed it last week. We worked out the pros and cons with Keane and with Mark. Xerxes, though, for you, striker-wise, what type of striker is he? What can we expect from him? Are you excited by him coming in? And do you feel like he's a player that's going to challenge Rasmus Hojlund for that number 1 spot as the first choice striker? Or do you think he's just going to be that makeshift? I don't see how anyone can come in for that money and that hype and be makeshift, Jack, personally.
Yeah, as you said, he surely can't be makeshift for that kind of money. In terms of the player, I don't really know too much. I don't really watch Italian football. Obviously, all I do know is he's 6'4", right-footed, 23 years of age. He's had a pretty all right season stats-wise. In terms of the type of player, I'm all for it. I really don't know. Obviously, now we have 2 strikers because Martial's gone. I really would want to see a third striker come in with a different kind of profile, because I feel like we do have 2 big strikers now. I'd want to see maybe more of a, not that the others aren't technical, but more of a false 9 kind of striker kind of thing. Because I feel like I haven't seen Xerxes enough, but I feel like he might kind of fit into the category Rasmus is. So I don't know what's gonna go on there.
Yeah, no, totally understand what you're saying there, Jack. And like, it's the unknown. I understand why people would actually have their doubts still over everything going on right now and be pessimistic and not be as upbeat or excited as some people. Like, the guy scored less goals than Rasmus Hojlund did last season. Louise, you've pointed out that Xerxes got them hamstring issues. Young, big lad. The more muscles you got, the more chance you've got of actually pulling one, I suppose, as well. But I just look at it and I go, yeah, I'm with everyone. I'm still not fully convinced. I'll wait to be convinced, and hopefully that comes when Xerxes pulls on that United shirt, and we can see what they've bought. But they're all in, and that's their target. If that's their target, we have to trust in Ten Hag and the coaching staff. Apparently, Ruud van Nistelrooy has been talking, Jack, and has already mentioned speaking to Xerxes. Xerxes apparently has spoken to Ruud van Nistelrooy. How much of a pull is Ruud van Nistelrooy for certain players as well? And how well have United actually done, Jack, to actually get Ruud through the door as a coach from being a first team manager?
Yeah, well, bringing a first team manager in, he's got to have a really promising role. I think in my eyes, it looks like a really good deal. And just, if you've got that profile of a striker in your coaching staff, you're sure Rasmus is definitely going to benefit from that. There's no two ways about it. The caliber of that player being in, a camp that has young upcoming strikers, I really like the sound of it. I really think that now Xerxes and Rasmus can really benefit from it, but not just those two, also Wheatley and 𝐸𝐞𝐫𝐞 coming in. Because as I said earlier, we have 2. I'd like to sign 3, but I could also see, Wheatley or 𝐸𝐞𝐫𝐞 coming in, because there really is that opportunity now with the lack of strikers we have for one of those to make a breakthrough.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, Louise, same question to you, really. I mean, onto the coaching side of things. Ruud van Nistelrooy, absolute legend. But players like Xerxes coming in, I'm trying not to use the Dutch connection, Louise. It's hard because everyone's Dutch, honestly. But if you were any striker coming into not just Manchester United and having the sort of buzz and the feel-good factor of being part of one of the biggest clubs in the world, and probably the opportunity to bring back the glory days and be part of that at Manchester United, that's a big thing as well. But to work alongside one of the best strikers that's been in the Premier League, in my opinion, I don't know about you, you can come back at me on that if you want, but I think to work with someone like that, one of the best in his craft, that is a massive pull as well. And I think United, again, I go back to it, like I was amazed when Van Nistelrooy came through the door. That was announced. I just didn't see it. I thought he was going to go for first team, but he's here, Louise, and I'm buzzing with it. I honestly am.
Yeah, when it was initially starting to be talked about, I was actually quite concerned about it, but not from a Man United point of view, but from a Ruud van Nistelrooy point of view, because I think so much of him, and a lot of my memories would have been watching him scoring goals, and I think he's an excellent striker. So this is one of the things I won't argue with you on, Adam, unusually, but yes, no, I do. I think he's fantastic, and look, if he's coming in, I think it can only benefit the club, and I think really such a massive problem we've had under Ten Hag has been scoring. Our scores are generally quite low. We don't score a lot of goals, and similar to what I said to you about England, it's great if you can defend well, you can control the midfield, and you can have all the possession in the world, but if you don't score a goal, you're not going to win a match. So I think having Ruud there is just going to be absolutely priceless, and I think he's coming in at the right time, because I think Rasmus sort of has had an average last season, and I think by the time next season comes, people are going to be expecting more of him, and if he doesn't start to improve, people will start to sharpen the knives. So I think Ruud's coming in at a really good time for Rasmus' development, because if he can't make it work with Ruud there to help him, then at least we know. And I would thoroughly agree with Jack as well, in terms of we would have operated for a long time with 3 strikers, 4 strikers at Man United. 2 isn't going to be enough. But I don't think, probably at this window, another striker will be a priority. We're probably going to be looking at left backs, right backs, midfielders and everything else, centre backs, the whole lot. So I would agree. We do need more of them. But for the moment, it would be good to have, Rasmus, Xerxes, Ruud there helping them along with their development, and another then potentially from the youth. And I think we crossed swords a little bit the other day on that. I would prefer Wheatley. I know you're a bit more of a 𝐸𝐸𝐞𝐫𝐞 person at the moment, but I think one or the other will likely come through and get more time this season. And I know kind of your argument the other day was, well, how is Wheatley going to develop if he's not getting any game time? He's going to be 3rd or 4th choice. But the thing is, if Xerxes finding his feet, if he is a slow run hitting the ground, if he does get a hamstring injury, if Rasmus's back gets a twinge, it's a long season with a lot of games, and I do think whoever that 3rd striker is will have minutes. And look at Manu,
Yeah, no, I get you. I get every point there, Louise. The Wheatley one, I just look at it and go, yes. Do you know what? I totally get if he takes his opportunity, he stays. You just don't know. Some players don't need that loan period. Some players just hit the ground running. I'm just like, if you give me 3 youth players 3 seasons in a row that actually make it straight into the first team without a loan, i.e. Garnacho, player of the year in the under-21s. Then you've got Mainu, player of the year in the under-21s. Guess who got player of the year for the under-21s, Louise, last year?
Was it Wheatley by any chance?
Yes, it was. So how are we going to make it a hat trick and get 3 graduates 3 years in a row? It would be a fairy tale. But I tell you what, Jack, these young players have saved Manchester United an absolute fortune. We talked about members of staff coming in and everything like that, but Wilcox and the academy link there, Jack, are you excited to see what Manchester United can produce now that we have got a decent structure in front of these academy players as well?
Yeah, well, as a younger fan as well, I'm always the younger players breaking through. It's always exciting for me. I loved Garnacho's breakthrough. I loved Mainu's breakthrough. I can't wait to see if 𝐸𝐞𝐫𝐞 can live up to the billing, if Wheatley can live up to the billing, and also the left back Amos. I'd love for him to break through. Obviously, there's no pressure on him to do that. You can't expect that much from your youth. But I think this season we could see quite a few players break through.
I'm really looking forward to it as well. So I was just giving David the thumbs up there. So Dinja as well, welcome to the members club, my friend. Anyone who does want to be part of the team, you know where the link is. Right below your screen there is a join button. Go for it, guys. Please give the video a like while you're at it and make sure you are hitting that subscribe button because I know you love the content. I know you're loving Jack and Louise. Might not like me, but don't go in on them. Like, they're just doing their bit right now. Yeah, save all your anger and your... No one does it anyway. I don't have any trolls on this channel. No, we did. It's all fun and games with United, honestly. And that you know what it does? Like, the opinions are flying around at the moment with United fans, and it is because of that once bitten, twice shy sort of nature. We've seen it all before, and it's always turned out the wrong way for us. But I am really looking forward to seeing these young players come through. And do you know what, Louise? This summer, with a lot of the Euros and Copa America sides, players that have been playing in that competition from United not making the tour, perfect opportunity to have a good look at some players. And do you know what? If we can make that third striker out of a Wheatley, out of another player in the squad, it's a perfect chance, isn't it? And just to get some alone time with the likes of Ruud, Ten Hag, Hack, whoever it is, coaching wise, on the tour. I've seen it up close and personal myself. They do get a bit of extra time, and it's always good to just gain that experience. And you know what? As toxic as this actual team seems to be, our squad seems to be at times when the season's on, I do think there are some good professional players there that can actually help these young lads coming through. I mean, I want to talk to you about Casemiro because that's been a story this week as well, Louise. And Casemiro actually begging, not so much, that's probably a bit harsh on my side. That I'll take that back, like asking Ten Hag to stay at Manchester United. Louise, straightforward question. Cash in or keep him? Where are you at?
It depends on the price. If we're getting decent money for him, yes, I would cash in.
All right, I'll change it up then. 30 million comes in for Casemiro. Are you cashing in? Are you keeping him?
Yeah, the age he's at, yeah, if we get 30 million, yeah.
That's
it.
What?
I think, look, I've probably an unpopular opinion about the whole Casemiro thing. I know there's a lot of people, he's fell off, he's lost his legs, he can't play anymore, blah, 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 blah. But I think it's very, very similar to what we saw with Cavani. Cavani came and was excellent. And then he did that tweet, in his own language. It was something that wasn't insulting in his own language, but in English, it was something that is a no-no. He got that suspension. And after that, all of a sudden, he was injured all the time. And I think it was really quite soon after Ten Hag came out and said that he had subbed Casemiro off to play more football, that all of a sudden Casemiro started developing, this lethargy and these injuries, and he wasn't able to play as well anymore. And look, yes, age does get the best of us, but I do think there's a lot more to it than just age. And I would say there's maybe a lot more to it to the conversation than Casemiro going, please, sir, can I stay? I would say there probably is maybe a clearing off the air happening in the background there, but I think at 30 million at his age, you can turn it down, no.
No, that's it. Also, welcome to the members club. Bradley Hendricks, gifted by the Honest Tiger, the legend, is in the house. The man himself, Honest Tiger. I can see Graham's in there as well. All the other mods and members, and Babs is in there as well. She said it there. Fed up with having players who are only at this football club for money. Jack, do you feel like with what you've seen so far with INEOS that them days look like they're being sieved out of the football club now?
I mean,
proof is in the pudding, is in the eating, Jack. Eh?
Yeah, well, I haven't seen many. I haven't seen enough. Like, obviously, you have some players coming out of contract now, and you know we've seen the backs of them. But in terms of your McTominays, your Maguires, I really just think I can't get behind them fully until I see proper change, until I see like a whole squad shift. Because first of all, they've inherited something which surely they do not want in terms of the players, right? You really don't want half of those players. So I think I can't get fully behind it until I see some big, like Maguire, he is a big name, whether you want to agree with it or not. Him going would be a big change, given he was club captain a few years ago. McTominay as well, he started most games of the season last season. He has for countless of years. So him going would be, a big name going. So in terms of that, I won't fully believe until they're gone. And Casemiro as well, like whether you like him or not, I think it is time to cash in on him. And if he was to go as well, then I could fully get behind it,
Yeah, that would be significant. I mean, I remember a couple of weeks ago, Louise, I think you said Rashford going would be a massive statement. I was talking earlier on. I want to get your opinion on both Rashford and Maguire. Both of them seem quite prominent names at the moment in the media and in the talk. But Rashford and his people have completely rebuffed an approach from the Saudi Pro League, as I expect he would, to be honest. It's a bit embarrassing that, honestly. If Rashford went to Saudi, I'd lose complete respect for him altogether. And thankfully, that has just been completely pushed back instantly for him. Harry Maguire as well. Both opinions, really, Louise, on them two. Actually, no, in terms of Rashford turning that deal down, you're not surprised, I'm guessing. But I really wanted your opinion on Maguire, not just Rashford. But
could talk for days about Rashford.
I know. I'm trying to avoid it. Like, I don't want to start getting into that territory. He's not even topic at the moment because pre-season's not started, and he hasn't done anything wrong for a while because he's not been in the limelight. Maguire, on the other hand, as I was talking earlier on, has had a conversation and been told, if you was a player at United, Louise, and the manager tells you you're probably going to be third or fourth choice at best next season, what do you do right now? Knowing that in 2 years, as I posted out earlier on, it's probably your last chance of playing an international tournament as well. It's not going to have your bum chum Southgate picking you, even if you're not playing, managing that England side. What do you do as Maguire in that situation?
I think he has to go, and I think it's primarily down to the international football. I think if that wasn't a problem, I don't think he would leave at all. And look, I don't think he was especially bad last season either, but he's not the future going forward for us. He's not the type of player, in terms of style of play that we want at the club. And so keeping him any longer just delays somebody else coming in that position who is able to play the type of football that we want to play. But I think from a personal point of view from him, I actually like, not him as a player, but I like how he handled the situation. I liked, the way he held himself on the pitch, the way there was no public fallout with the manager. So I think if he was to go now with his head held high and say, look, I gave it my best shot. I got an extra year out of it. I did really well in that year. I put myself on the market and now it's time for me to go, because realistically the next tournament could be his last. You know what I mean? Obviously different people last different lengths of time and different ages, but I think the type of player that he is, he's not going to get any faster. And as football progresses, international football will eventually catch up as well. And, with 𝐇𝐞𝐫𝐞 going, you don't know who's going to come into the place. You don't know what kind of football they're going to want to play. Maguire might be out of the question regardless, because the new manager of England might not want to play that, defensive type of football. So I think he has to give himself the best chance at being able to get on the pitch. And to do that, he needs to be playing club football regularly, week in, week out. Otherwise, he's just, I think, 𝐇𝐞𝐫𝐞 by himself. But I actually think a lot of that also applies to Rashford. not to go in on him too much, but he's not playing international football either, and he needs to look at his career. He's a lot younger than Maguire, and how many more tournaments has he got left if he's not playing club football and he's not getting picked? And I found it very interesting that they felt brave enough to make that offer. So I think somebody has said the door is open for offers. Otherwise, they wouldn't have even bothered putting it in, because surely they knew it was going to be rejected in the first instance. So I actually think Maguire and Rashford's situations now, from being so very different, are much more closely aligned.
Yep. Poll is up in the chat as well now. Which player is most likely to be sold this summer, guys? McTominay, Casemiro, Harry Maguire. Casemiro is well ahead at the moment on 49%. Guys, please do give the video a like as well. We're already creeping up to 150. Thank you, everyone, for getting involved. Get involved in the poll as well. Get your comments in. We're going to open it up to questions in the last part of the show as well. We're nowhere near that yet. But Louise, just wanted to quickly come to you again before we move back to Jack. Ligt, Maguire's so-called replacement. I've not really had full opinion from you yet. We talked about it last week. You was on the show before that, but Ligt, the obvious concerns are there, but are there plenty of positives to keep you encouraged that this is the right move for Manchester United to make?
Again, he's probably not the player I would go for. I think Stu feels a little bit more strongly than I do about it, but I'm not particularly excited about it. Look, I don't really care where he's from. I don't care that he's Dutch. That makes no difference to me. If he's a good player, he's a good player. Doesn't matter what his connections are to what country. But I just think, when we have to start or preface a sentence with the obvious concerns are there, but then that's enough for me to be like, I'm not so sure. Now, I'm assuming they're doing their research, but based on being burned in the past, I would just have serious concerns. Look at Martinez, absolutely fantastic defender, but that's no good if he's not on the pitch. And I don't think De Ligt is as good as Martinez, but might be just as injury prone. So he's just probably not the one I would be going for. Okay.
Jack, coming to you. Midfield, big ass problem, mate. Big ass problem. Talk to me about Ugarte. Have you watched any of the Copa America? Have you stayed up to watch any of it? He's impressed in every single game he's been in. His leg was absolutely disjointed from the picture I seen the other day. Good old South American hard nut steel actually coming back and playing the next game after that one, Jack. That's the type of guy I would love in a team, simply because he can take a hit like that and carry on playing as well the next week. But are you impressed with Ugarte as a signing overall? If we get him for, say, under the 50 million mark, is that the right way to go, mate? Oh, Louise is dropping everything.
Just throw it out. It's that Jafla telling me I'm in my 50s.
Jack, fire away, mate.
Yeah, no, I did. So I saw a photo of Ugarte's leg, and I haven't kept up too well with Copa America. So I saw that and I thought he's going to be out. So he's not, which is a good thing to see in terms of that. I mean, part of me is thinking, like, is he playing for an injury now? That could be really bad. But at the same time, we have so many injury-prone players now. I want to sign someone that's going to play more than 25 games a season for us. I only saw Ugarte properly in Champions League games for the time that PSG was in the Champions League. And I really liked him. I'll tell you another player I really liked, Fabian Ruiz. And I'm so glad, I know I'm steering a bit off Ugarte, but Fabian Ruiz, I'm so glad he's having the Euros he is having now. He is a genuine baller. He's a genuine player. There's no talk about it, and it will never happen. But if I could have one player that's United have had no interest in, it would be Fabian Ruiz. The skill that man has, the pure, he's just an overall player. I really think if United signed Fabian Ruiz, it would do wonders for us. And you're really seeing him now shine in the Spain team. And I think he's going to be a massive part of a win if they do beat the French.
Yeah, no, I've got him in my fantasy team, mate. For that reason, you're dead right. He has absolutely played it. But actually, do you know what? You've opened up a line of questions there. First of all, quickly, I've just got to welcome another member donated by Tom Porter, which is Paul Lucas. Paul, welcome along, my friend. Good to have you as a member. And obviously, Tom, you're just a legend, mate. Simple as. Thank you very much. Almost at the 150 like mark, guys. Cheers, everyone. Love it. Fabian Ruiz, Ugarte. Talk to me about Ugarte first of all, Louise, and then Fabian Ruiz on Louise, and getting mixed up with the easies there. But no, is there any other player out there for you, Louise, after Ugarte, and your hope for him, and if you think he's a good sign that you would pick as well?
Yeah, actually, the first one you've asked me about, I'd probably be quite positive about Ugarte. I think he's quite exciting, and he's a little bit different than what we have. So he is something that I would be someone that I'd be happy to have on board. But that seems to have cooled down a little bit. There was a lot of talk of that, and then that seems to have just taken a bit of a backseat at the moment. So trying not to get too excited, for something that maybe isn't going to happen. But he would certainly be somebody that I would happy to be seeing coming through the door. And I would agree. I think Ruiz is just having an absolutely fantastic tournament. He's an excellent player, and I certainly wouldn't be somebody that I would argue about at all. There's probably nobody else really. I'm quite happy to see, what the club do, who the club look for. And look, they might not be my picks. They're not people that I would go for ideally, but I'm very interested to see who the club are going to go for, what type of players, what profile of player are they looking at these things. Maybe they've looked at these injuries and they're happy to go ahead despite them. They know maybe they can do something different or better about it. And, as Jack's saying there, I think all players seem to be injury prone at the moment as well. So if you want to buy somebody, the chances are they are going to have had an injury at some point. And I think that's probably just due to the number of games that they're all playing. So would you maybe have to make allowances there as well? Just not too many. We don't want just everybody sitting on the hospital beds and nobody ready to go on the pitch at all. But yeah, I'm very interested to see the picks that the club have between themselves and Erik ten Hag. How are they going to work together to meet in the middle? And as we've been told, he's going to say, well, this is the type of player I want, or I want a CDM, or this is what I want, and they're going to give him a list and he'll kind of go from there. So it'll be very interesting to see that dynamic then as well. But definitely I'd be liking to see Ugarte come in, definitely.
Yep. That's it, Ugarte. And no one else you would take in, Louise? No?
I'm sure there are others, but I'm trying not to get myself too excited. And I think, look, we talk a lot in a transfer window about people coming in and, we want this player and we want that player and we do need players. But I'll be quite honest, I'm not bored, but I'd be much more excited to see the players that are going out. And that's really what I'm interested in. I have a list of players that I want to get rid of, and that's really what I want to see, is because, we've bought players before despite a terrible structure, and, we've overpaid for them, poor wage structurally, the deals have been terrible, but we have bought players. So, okay, we're going to buy players, and I hope we get good players, and I hope we do it fast, and that's wonderful, but I want to see players being sold, and that'll make me really excited.
Yes, that is, I think that's it. I mean, we've heard the news. I want to get both of your thoughts on this one as well. Pretty much just rounding up the week and the news there in Greenwood getting an extra week. Does that tell you that he's on his way out, Jack? If United are not bringing him back to full training, another few days just to get sorted. That, to me, earlier on cried out, Greenwood's gone. Your thoughts on that? And is there any hope for Sancho for you on them two players, Jack? Fire away, mate.
Yeah, well, so with the first one, Greenwood, I think that does scream to most people that he's gone. In terms of Sancho, I mean, I like Sancho, right? I really do. Obviously, he has not performed for United. There's been I can count on one hand how many times he's actually had a good performance for United. I would have loved that to actually work out for Sancho, but I think now the fact that he never apologized to Ten Hag, had to have a loan move just for him to have football, coming back now, even if there is an apology, I think Ten Hag will just want to see the back of him. I don't see. I'll be really surprised if Sancho is playing for us next season. I will be really surprised. And what annoys me about that is, one, the missed opportunity, but two, clubs can come in now and, they know this situation. It's everywhere. That we're not going to be able to demand much for Sancho because he's a player we pretty much can't use next season, given that Ten Hag's the manager. So, yeah, we're probably going to see both of those gone. And I'm annoyed that we're not going to get much money for any of them, really. But we can't, so...
That's it. Is it more important, Louise, that these players are just out of the football club at this stage now? Money doesn't come into it as much if you're looking to concentrate on the football, but there has to be an element where you need to get something out of the deal, surely.
Yeah, well, with Greenwood, look, I would agree. I think that's just he's going, with him not even coming back into Carrington. He's gone, he's done. And either a deal is already halfway there or they've decided that regardless, if they have to take a hit, they will. He's just going. And I think, look, given it all of the surrounding stuff and probably the divide that it would create, it's maybe just cleaner that way, In terms of Sancho, again, I probably have a slightly more unpopular opinion on that one. I didn't agree with how Ten Hag handled that initially, and I think it's not the first player that he's spoken about out of turn. I mentioned earlier he comments about Casemiro, and there's been lots of other players where he's talked about maybe in a way that I don't think is probably the best way, or certainly in a way that would encourage them to play better. But I understand there was also then a lot of things with Sancho behind the scenes that was happening at City, it was happening at Dortmund before. So I think with Sancho, it's quite different because there is the potential there. I'm not too worried about apologies and all of that. I think they're grown men that just need to sort themselves out. That's a bit sentimental, I think, for the jobs that they're in. And I think the fact that he's being allowed to come back at all says that there is a possibility. Maybe not a likelihood, but a possibility that this could be resolved. And I suppose really how it all came about was Ten Hag was favouring Antony, and Antony really hasn't turned out how Ten Hag has wanted. He's not too fond of Pellistri, and Ahmad is getting chances here and there, a few minutes. So he might be left with Sancho on the right wing. He might be thinking, do you know what, actually me just cutting my losses and making peace with Sancho is better than me having to continue to play Antony and answer for the fact that we spent so much money on this player that's failing. He might be looking at other players going, well, out of my choices, Sancho might actually be the most naturally talented, even if he's not the most liked. And I think a lot of people in the chat have said previously, it's great to have somebody who has a nice personality, but if they bring it on the pitch, then they don't really care if they're a bit of an a-hole in real life, obviously within reason, So I think you have to, again, find a medium there. And I think it's possible that Sancho might be putting on a jersey.
Ooh, and that bombshell, we can finish up the show. That was a good one to finish. Guys, absolute legends. Cheers for coming on, both Jack and Louise. Guys, we're going to be banging out the content constantly here on FUTV. Let me know in the comment section if you loved Jack's comments, if you love Louise's, and everything they put into the show as well. Let me know if you like this type of show and if you want us to try and bring something else similar to this in the week as well at certain points, who you'd like to come on and things like that. Get your comments in below, guys. Make sure you give the video a like and hit the subscribe button as well on the channel. I really appreciate everyone in the chat coming in and joining us this evening. Louise, first of all, thank you so much for coming on. Do you have any social accounts that anyone can catch you on? Are you happy to be incognito mode?
Yeah, just here. This is the only place to see me, here and on Tifo. Getting it going, but no, nothing else too exciting.
There you go. That's all that matters. FUTV Army, Louise, right at the forefront of it. And our man Jack, legends, outside Old Trafford. Have you got your applications in for the Community Shield, Jack? That's the important question.
Yeah, I mean, I really, what's good. We tried so many times trying to get tickets for just home games this season. We're kind of not giving up, but like it was awful. So I don't have much hope right now.
Yeah, no. I know what you mean, Jack. Getting tickets is a bleeding nightmare. Trust me. I'm paying a fortune for my season tickets right now, and yeah, I'm hoping I get value for money next season. That's the important thing, I think, in all of this. But yeah, Jack, absolute legend, coming on as well. Guys, new members, all of the chats, everyone involved. Mods, again, all the way through the day, you've been absolutely immense. I appreciate you all. Thank you so much, as always. And guys, we'll see you all tomorrow. And yeah, remember what I said, everybody. There's more content coming up, and there's another show coming up. I'm bringing you more. I can't help it. You're just gonna have to deal with it, guys. I just love talking United, especially when it's positive. Anyway. Hopefully that doesn't change and I get stuck with that show and then I have to be all downbeat again. But yeah, that's it, guys. Thank you. Love you all. I will see you through the week. Have a fantastic rest of what's left of your weekend. Up the FUTV army. We'll see everybody later. Have a good one, people.